Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our lockdown today, our webinar today, End of Lockdown, 5 Ways Phone Systems Disrupt Old Working Habits. My name's Simon Horton. I'm the VP of Sales for Europe, and I'm joined also by Shan Sood, who is the Marketing Manager for Europe as well. So today for the agenda, we've got a few sections coming up. We'll first look at how the workplace is changing. Then we'll look at the 5 ways working habits are changing, and we'll look at those during lockdown and now, as certainly in the UK, as we come out of lockdown and the pandemic feels like it's beginning to become behind us, how things will change then. Then we'll look at the phone system that disrupts those old working habits and fixes some of those problems we discussed in the section above. Quick little bit about Sangoma. Talk about some special offers, and that gets summarized and kind of allow you guys to leave. So it's great that we've got so many people on the webinar. It's really good to see a lot of people out there, not just from the UK, but from some other countries as well. And pleased to report that here in Wokingham, where our European HQ is, the weather is nice and sunny at the moment. So it's all very nice in the UK. Please, let's try and make this as interactive as we can. So inside your GoToWebinar panel, you'll see a little questions area. You can whack your questions into them, and we'll try and address them all at the end. We've reserved some time at the end for questions, and of course we are recording this, so everybody will get a copy of the presentation. You can share this with your colleagues, and if you have to drop off or something, then you can always come back and look at it later. I suspect we'll be talking for 25 to 30 minutes, and then have a little bit of time for questions at the end. So without further ado, I am going to hand over to Shan, who is going to walk us through the changing workplace. Shan.
Good morning. Thank you, Simon. Hi, everyone. And yeah, Simon said, Wokingham's not too bad this morning, although, who knows with our British weather. The UK is beginning to come out of lockdown, and hopefully the rest of Europe will be following us soon. A lot of the big companies have already decided they're going to go back to flexible working when we go. The boss of HSBC has actually said he's going to give up his executive office. He's going to hot desk. The Bank of Ireland are going to be doing hybrid working. Facebook has said their staff can continue to work at home. And one of the interesting things we're seeing is property sales in coastal areas and other nice areas are actually increasing because it looks like people have decided they like this flexibility of working from home, and let's live somewhere where you really want to live. And businesses have decided, yeah, we can trust our employees. They've done a great job during lockdown, carrying on working, and let's look at doing this going forward. Now, let's have a little closer look at what we think the new workplace is going to look like. It's definitely going to enhance the quality of life. People are not going to have to commute as much in rush hour. That's going to save time. There'll be less people on the road at the same time. People are going to feel better. They're not frustrated sitting there in a car that's not moving. So hybrid working will become normal practice. To touch on a few things that the big organisations and companies are doing is the Bank of Ireland have said they're going to set up hubs so staff can use the desks and just attend meetings. The rest of the time they can work remotely. Nationwide have decided they're going to allow 13,000 of their staff to choose where they work. They did a survey and 57% said they wanted to work from home full time when lockdown ends. And another, just over a third, said they would like a mix of home and office-based work. As a result of this, Nationwide have actually said they're going to close 3 of their offices so that the staff can choose. They either work at the HQ, they can work from home, or they can even work out of their branch offices. And from there, just to save travelling. PricewaterhouseCoopers have stated, yes, 2 days a week, you can work from home. But the other big thing they've said is, you don't have to do a 9 to 5. If you want to start work at 6 in the morning and finish earlier, or you want to start working at midday because it fits better with your lifestyle, you can. As I say, BP have said the same, 2 days a week. British Airways are letting their staff split as well. That's just a few of the ones we found. But one of the things is to look at is this is the big organisations who are doing this. And what we're now going to look at is the 5 ways working habits are going to change for all businesses, small, medium, and the big enterprises. Firstly, we're going to look at how it's changing, how we think it'll be post-lockdown, and then later on, Simon's going to go through with how a business system can help you do this. So over to you, Simon, to look at the first one.
Thank you, Shan. And the first case we have is the home worker during lockdown. And you can see on the picture on the right-hand side, we have a kind of stressed mum trying to juggle her baby and her laptop and her mobile phone. I guess we could have taken a picture of Lauren, who works for us and just came back from maternity leave actually for this picture. Anyway, we saw certainly during the first lockdown that it came upon us quite fast. So a lot of staff would just say, go home, sent home with a mobile and a laptop. They possibly had no access to the office phone system. So the only way they could communicate with customers was to give their customers their mobile number. So they had to share the mobile number with the customers. Having said that, because the lockdown kind of came on a lot of us quite fast, customers understood the issues. So it was kind of funny, right? If your child disrupted you or your dog or whatever, and you're on your mobile phone, you couldn't get access to all the systems. It was kind of understandable, and and even the employers empathized with home disruption. So it was hard, but it was understood. But now, Shan, as we move through to kind of the new normal, how do you think that the working habits are going to change?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Customers were fairly tolerant because we're all in the same boat. But if we're going to now allow employees to have flexible working and work from home, then customers aren't going to be tolerant of this bad service. If they get bad service, an excuse that your dog's jumping up on you will just not work. And the employer, if they're going to allow you to work from home, then they're going to expect you to be at full productivity as you were pre-lockdown. Fine, if you choose to live further away and you can't go to the office, that's absolutely fine, but your work cannot suffer for that reason. And from the employees, personally, it'd be great if you can use a desktop IP phone so that I can access what I would access in the office. But I haven't got space at home for a big IP phone, or I don't have the connectivity. So home working might not work because we just might not be as productive as we were in the office. Yeah, so that's on that one. It is basically, if you're going to allow me to work from home, then I've got to be as productive as I am in the office.
Absolutely. The second one is the office during lockdown, and I like slides like this because it's dead simple. The office was closed during lockdown. And now maybe as the office starts to open up, Shan, what are we seeing?
So as I said earlier, we're going to have the office is going to be different going forward. There will be hot desking, but if we're going to have hot desking, employees are going to want to feel like it's still their desk. Just because I'm at a different desk tomorrow than I was today, I want to be able to still use what I was doing on that desk. There'll be smaller offices, there will be different offices, it could be a hub, it could be a desk in a branch office if you're in a bank. So the office is not going to be the same in the future. But one of the things is, so if you do want me to go into a smaller office or you want me to hot desk, then I still want it to have my phone. I've spent ages setting my phone up the way I want it. So I'd like to be able to log into it like I do on my computer. I want my contact list to come up, and I prefer certain layout where I want things on the left. and the previous person on that phone might have put everything on the right. And so I don't want to spend ages when I go into the office and change the phone so it works for me. And the last thing I ever want to do is record a new voicemail each time. I mean, it's bad enough. I don't know about you, Simon, but I spend 3 or 4 attempts when I record a voicemail because I always get it
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
And if I've got
exactly.
to do that every day I go into the office, I'm just going to get frustrated with that.
Yes.
Yeah, so so that's the main thing is that if you're going to give me a hot desk or a different office, I want my speed dials, I want my preferred layout. So yeah, let me log into the phone like I would on a computer.
Absolutely, I completely agree. The third of the five, the habits that we see, is our good friend, the road warrior. And I think that the road warrior, the guy that's out there, traveling around doing selling, he's probably had a nice time for the last year or so when he's been home based rather than going to meet customers. So he's, as a picture on the right, he's been sitting there with his feet up perhaps. But no, that's not true. But what we're seeing is that the road warrior now is kind of been tied to working from home. But that means that now his customers have got a different level of expectation. Previously, when he was out on the road, they would expect to be able, to get his voicemail and leave messages, and he'd call him back when he could. But now the road warrior has been accessible all the time, and new customers or old customers have got used to just calling his office number and getting through to him. In addition to that, because he's tied into the office, he probably has access over a VPN to gain extra information, see which of his colleagues are available. So salespeople and the customers have got used to having lots of information at their fingertips to provide to their customers. So Shan, again, back over to you. What are we seeing as road warriors are back out doing?
Exactly, yeah.
Back out on the road.
Yeah, as you say, I mean, it's been nice for the road warrior at home and so forth, but unfortunately, I think out of everyone, they're going to have to step up so much more in their new working habits. Because as you said, customers are we're going to expect to be able to contact them all the time. And what I don't want to do is, I call them and then get a voicemail saying, "Oh, please call this number." And I don't need to I can't find a notepad to write their mobile down and then call them on a different number. And when I do get hold of them, I want them to have all my information like they did when they were working at home. So yeah, in a sense, I sort of feel a little bit sorry for the road warrior because they've got a lot more to get right going forward. They've got to be as productive as they were working from home. But the nice thing is it would be great to start meeting people again and see your customers and suppliers in person. But those customers and suppliers are now going to expect a lot more from you while you're on the road.
Yes, agreed, absolutely. So number 4 is how our business numbers evolved during lockdown, and the key thing here is the first slide. It's the blurring between personal and business numbers. As we talked about, people were sent home with a mobile. They had no choice but to communicate on their mobile number. So the personal numbers have become public. We've even seen cases where, because perhaps the mobile reception isn't even strong enough at home for some home workers, if they're in a black spot, they've had to give out their home landline number. So we're even seeing that customers are interrupting households by phoning outside of business hours or during staycations, perhaps from a different time zone. They phone at an inappropriate time of day, or you have some time off, and normally if you have time off, you'd re-record a voicemail message on your business set saying, "Hey, I'm not available." You can't really do that on your mobile or your home phone. So we've seen people getting disrupted during time out of the office as well. And then if you've got to manage potentially 3 different numbers, you can't do diversion or forking or sequential ringing or any of the features that you would normally need. And maybe I'm cutting into your slide here, Shan, but yeah, it's very hard to manage those 3 numbers and make it feel like a unified way of contacting someone.
Yep, totally agree with you on that. And I think, as Simon just alluded to there, that is one of the things going forward. We need to go back to having that converged office number. It has to be, as a customer, I'm going to call an office. I'm going to get the switchboard and say, hey, can I speak to Joe Bloggs? They're going to say, oh, he's not available right now, but I'm going to get him to call you back. So the switchboard, because he's working at home, they're going to then send an email to him and say, hey, can you please call this customer? So, the employees at home thinking, I'm going to have to call this guy back on my mobile. And I'm the customer waiting for him to call me back. And I don't know about you guys, but I especially during lockdown, I've seemed to have had a lot of spam and phishing calls. So I'm going to look at my phone and say, I have no idea who this mobile number is. No, I'm rejecting that. And then you've just lost your customer. So I can't see how it's going to work if you're at home and you're calling me from your mobile. Going forward, we've got to have one number, Simon. It's got to be,
Yeah.
I know
It's
it's
like
the office.
It's like the one number from the 1990s,
Yeah,
right? Remember, there was lots of companies. BT had something called one number. It's kind of like we've done a full circle, like back 20 or 30 years. It's quite funny to
absolutely.
see this. Those of us that are old enough to remember remember some of those products from way back.
Yeah. Thanks for making me feel older there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And the fifth and final one, but by no means the least important, is the fact about managing customer calls during lockdown. How do when the call comes in, the problems are, how do you queue up a customer call, or how do you present your music on hold, or a voice prompt menu when you've got staff all over the place with no access to those business systems? So there's a customer service element. Then there's a management element. So as a manager of a team of perhaps support staff or service staff, how do you know who's doing what? How do you know whether your team is overloaded, or the queue's so long you need to get some extra people in, or people are waiting too long because your staff are not on it? So there's a management element as well. And finally, there's an employee productivity part, that if you've got a random call arriving on your mobile, as Shan said, it's probably unlikely going to have all of your customer details in your mobile phone. So it's a random call, and then it could be a phishing call. There's no CRM integration typically on a mobile, so you don't know anything about who is calling in. And I guess, Shan, again, as we come out of lockdown, there's going to have to be some new habits around this whole area.
Absolutely, and I think out of the 5, this is my biggest concern, because we need this call management to do our jobs properly. So if we are going to have flexible working, then customers' calls have to be able to be routed to the right employee. I don't care where the employee is based, but if I put a call in, I want that same high level of service I had before, when everyone was in the office. So I want to know how many people in front of me in the queue. And if you offer callback, great. Let me press callback, and I know I'm going to get a callback. But I know I'm going to get that call back from an office number, so I will take that call. I actually sometimes quite like listening to music on hold, or getting some messages about what offers they are. And the biggest thing is, you want to be able to use the menus to quickly get to the right department. But what I don't want is, if to get to that right department, it then says, oh, please call this number for that department, because it's not all integrated. From the manager's perspective, they've got to look at their employee activity, see who's got too many people in their queue, who's got space, who's overwhelmed, and look at the call volume, look at the length of call queues. Do I need to throw a few more people into that call queue to help out? But the biggest thing from a manager is, you can listen in on the calls to see where someone needs help. You can either whisper, or you can actually join a call and say, hey, I see you've got this issue, let me try and help. And as a customer, it's great. You feel that your call's important, everyone's looking after you, and you're getting the information you need. And I think, as you said, Simon, from an employee point of view, I want to feel connected. I I want all the information at hand when this call comes in from this customer. I want to be prepared. I want to look professional, and it makes you look good. The customer feels important. I can say, "Oh, hello, Mr. Customer. Yes, I can see that. You've called me about X, Y, and Z, and I can help you with that." And the other thing is, I easily log in or out of that queue or pause from it. So, hey, I'm going to lunch now, so I can log myself out. Everyone else in my team, I want them to be able to see that I'm not available or I am available. But you know what? I'm sorry, Simon, but from my perspective, this functionality is really limited to large scale call centers with large budgets. I can't see how that the average business is going to be able to have all of this and offer flexible working to their employees.
I mean, yeah, a lot of this function is in the realms of Genesis and interactive intelligence and those big call center stuff, right? So it'll be interesting to see in the next section how we can maybe address that for a smaller business.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, that's moving on to this. Let's have a look at what these of how the phone systems are going to disrupt the old working habits. So we're going to look at the 5 habits, and then later on we'll discuss. We're going to hand over to you, actually, Simon. I've got my slides mixed up here. And let's have a look at what's going to happen to these 5 habits.
Yes, thank you, Shan. I agree. But before we talk about the 5 habits, I just want to spend a couple of minutes introducing or reintroducing Switchbox, because of course that's what we think is the solution to these to these problems that you highlighted so well, Shan, and the requirements that we have. So we kind of need an office phone system that will allow you to work from anywhere. And of course the answer is Switchbox. So for it to be successful, we need to have every business needs a phone system that ensures their communication systems can cope. So we need to be able to empower all of those things that we saw in the 5 habits that we highlighted earlier. And of course Switchbox does it. It's a full-featured IP, PBX, and UC, so a unified communications platform. It scales up to 1,000 users, so covers off an awful lot of the market there. It's very easy to manage and deploy, so you can deploy it either on premise or as a piece of tin. You can virtualize it in a data center, or you can buy it pre-packaged as a cloud service from Sangoma. And the really nice thing is, regardless of how you deploy it, it's the same features. So we use the same software stack on everything, unlike a lot of our competitors. So if you can use the web UI on the cloud version, the web UI on the premise version is exactly the same. We don't turn off any features in any of these systems, so everything has the full set of features regardless of where you're deploying. And of course that means for your tech staff, it's the same training. So if you can install it on a cloud, you can install it on virtualized. It's exactly the same, which is a really big benefit of, rather than having to learn multiple different web UIs to do the installation. Recently, we now support all the main European languages. We have German, Spanish, French, Italian, and the slight differences between UK English and American English. And another key point is that all features are included, and you'll see this on the following slides actually. But yeah, there are no hidden costs. Everything is included for every single user. So if you remember all the way back to the start, we talked about the home worker, the new home worker. So this is the person based at home, but they want to feel and appear like they're in the office. So what do they need? They need full UC connectivity. So what we would recommend for a home worker is the Sangoma desktop client. So Shan mentioned that often people don't have room for a full-on IP phone at home because they don't have space. Maybe they haven't got an Ethernet port to go plug it into. So desktop client works really well. All the staff can answer and calls remotely, they can chat and screen share, they get presence control, so they can set their own presence, they can see which of their colleagues may be available to help them out. They can merge calls, they can bring a colleague into a call, they can put the call on hold, they can do a transfer, and they can initiate on-demand call recording. Of course, we've got a range of handsets as well, the H10 and the H20. They work perfectly well and really well with our desktop client, the Sangoma Switchbox desktop. So we really like this solution for the home worker. It solves those problems from earlier, and of course, desktop clients included free for every user on Switchbox, so it's fully included and ready to go. The second scenario was the new office worker. And if you remember back to the problems here, it was about, oh my goodness, hot desking is becoming more popular. You know, the HSBC CEO who's moving from his floor, his executive floor, down one floor to sit on the open desks with all the other staff. You know, the key requirement here is being able to hot desk, log in and log out of phones. You know, you need to be able to log into a phone and have it, as Shan said, have it display all your key positions, your voicemail greeting and voicemails that have been left for you. And all Sangoma phones support this hot desking, this logging in, logging out of phones, and it works really nicely. There's no rebooting of the phone. It just kind of comes up with all your details straight away. Hot desking, again, included free with every phone, so there's no extra payment to enable hot desking inside Switchbox. But you know, our Sangoma phones are not just a one-trick pony. So as well as hot desking, they also give you, you know, auto provisioning, zero-touch provisioning, flexible installation. You can, as well as logging in and logging out of the phone, you can log in and log out of any queues that you happen to be in. So if you're a member of support queue, you can log out of that support queue and log in and pause yourself. Of course, you can see inbound call information, and supervisors can get a basic level of call statistics on their phone as well. So Sangoma desktop phones, you know, perfect for the new office worker. Number 3 in our list of 5, if you remember, was the new road warrior. So we've moved on from the guy that drives around in his Mondeo, just you know, ignoring customers. He needs to be available whenever customers call him. So their office number needs to follow them, and they need a reliable mobile phone app. So Sangoma Connect is our offering here. It's a soft phone and a chat app, and it's available for iOS on Apple devices and obviously for Android. It allows you to interact with colleagues and managers for assistance while on a call. You can, again, view presence status, you can manage calls, and of course, the key one here is you can make calls with office number displayed, so you can mask your own mobile number as needed. And again, Sangoma Connect is included in all of the, for every user inside Switchbox. Number 4 was the business number reality. So if you remember, this one is where you are trying to juggle multiple different numbers, perhaps even your home number had been exposed, you know, landline number had been exposed to customers. This one is really, for me, about converged routing. So it allows you to make choices about how your calls are routed and what devices should ring. So on my desk, for instance, I have an IP phone, I have my mobile, and I have my desktop. And I have decided that when somebody calls my extension number, all 3 of my devices should ring. So it's like a Christmas tree goes off on my desk every time somebody calls me, but at least I can then make a good decision on how I should pick up. Now, I'm lucky enough that I have a separate home office. If I was working out of the kitchen or dining room, I might not want my IP phone or my desktop start ringing halfway through a mealtime. So I might decide to do some time of day routing and say, okay, after 5 o'clock at night, I don't want don't want every device to ring. Perhaps I just want my mobile to ring. So you can do all of that cool stuff around converged routing. You can also do failover to other colleagues. So if you're out of the office, you can do a very easily controlled call forwarding to another colleague. Again, so you're not disturbed. And of course, the key one here, as I mentioned on the previous slide, is you don't have to share your mobile number or your personal numbers with anybody else. So you can purely, everything looks like it's coming from your office number, which I think is really cool. And all of these features, again, are included in Switchvox at no extra cost. Okay. And the fifth and final one, which we talked about a lot earlier, and Shan said, and I agree with her, this is the most important thing, is the customer call management reality. And I think most of us, when we think about a contact center, we think of a huge office. So we think of the enormous contact centers that maybe got outsourced, a few years ago to other lower labor rate countries. And you can see the picture here of a load of people jam-packed into a small office. The reality is really that, I've grayed this box out, and I think in this context, it's contact center-like features that have dribbled down to the SMB. So it's more about enabling inbound calls to route so that every customer call gets answered in a timely way. It's about reporting on inbound calls so that a manager knows what's going on with customers and staff. And it's about enabling frontline remote workers to be as productive as they are in the office. So what does that mean? From a Switchvox point of view, it means you can manage those calls very easily. So you can queue and redirect calls. You can flow over different queues. You can provide music on hold, we talked about. You can have callback when available. You can allow callers to preserve their place in the queue without hang up and still preserve their place in the queue. And when they get to the top, they get a callback. You can do different queue priorities. So you can prioritize different VIP customers. You can have routing rules, so like time of day or department routing. And of course, we also have CRM integration. So you can have the pop-up of CRM information when a customer calls in, so you feel like you know all about the customers. And then from a management point of view, the employer can see call activity, they can see who's available to take calls, and they can monitor phone activity and see who's productive and maybe who needs more help. And of course, yet again, the mantra is contact center is included in Switchvox, free for every user, which is really, really nice. So before I move on from this section, I just felt like I had to touch on Switchboard. So inside Switchvox, we include for every user this feature called Switchboard. And it's like a virtual operator panel, but it does way more than just doing call control. So it's a browser-based call control panel. And it enables really all 5 of the realities that we talked about. So you can see on the right-hand side over here that it's a pretty intuitive layout, and you can completely customize all of those layouts. So you can choose what we call widgets to display what's important to that customer, and it's really cool. So on the call control side, you can look at your contacts, you can type and dial those, so you can dial the contacts directly from the switchboard. You can look at call history, you can look at call recordings, you can look at voicemails, you can forward voicemails. We talked a little bit about the customizable layouts, but there's different layouts suggested for standard users versus call center agents versus call center supervisors. So you can you can do all of the queue, logging in and logging out of the queue. If you're a call center agent, as a supervisor, you can unpause people. You can do whisper, you can do barge. You can even customize those widgets. So if there's something that isn't available in a regular widget, you can do customization. And if you're a supervisor, you can reprioritize callers to the top of the queue for your VIP callers. So it is a really powerful browser-based way of controlling more information about Switchbox. And again, surprise, surprise, Switchboard is included free for every user. So again, no extra cost if you want to turn on the Switchboard functionality. So I think that's my stuff about the features available in Switchbox. I'm going to talk a little bit about Sangoma on the next slide. I'm not going to dwell on this too long, because I think most people know about who Sangoma are. What I'm going to highlight here is if you can see me drawing on my screen, if I can make this work, over here you can see that, these numbers look bigger than before. So this number that's 200 million, this probably when I last presented to you guys was in the 120 bracket. The 32 million of EBITDA, which is our kind of pre-tax profits, was much about half that, and our recurring revenue was about 50%, not 70%. So really, the reason is this top left acquisition. So we acquired this company called Star to Star. We completed the acquisition about a month ago, actually, the very end of March. And Star to Star are a large cloud provider based out of Florida in the US. So almost all of their revenue today is North American based, but we have, I think, in the planning eventually will be to try to bring some of their service to Europe, which will be super exciting. But right now it's North American based, but it gives us a huge amount of scale, right? We're up to $250 million worth of revenue. They're becoming a much bigger player. They bring almost as many members of staff as we used to have, 300 members of staff. They're really good at engineering, and they've got big engineering, big marketing team. So it is super exciting to be at Sangoma. It's a great time to be partnered with Sangoma, because we will continue to grow and be solid and be a reliable partner for years to come. But Shan, I think that's probably enough talking for me for a while. Why don't you walk us through the special offers?
Yeah, so I actually now get to present you something good after having to listen to my doom and gloom. One of the things is, we think Switchbox is fantastic. It does, as Simon has said, it addresses the 5 realities going forward. But you know what? We'd like you to have a go, look at it yourselves. So we are offering free trial accounts, and it'll be the full feature set. Nothing's going to be switched off. And we're available. It's not available in every country, but we will also give you 100 minutes calls per month to test it out. And I think it's a great offer. That way you don't have to believe me or Simon. You can decide. One of the other offers we've got at the moment is 10% off the purchase of a Switchbox solution, whether it's cloud or on-premise. Now, at the moment, we were only running this when you replaced a competitive system or you brought us a competitive quote. But for attending this webinar and sticking with us throughout of this, anyone, any company on this webinar, whether you're an end user customer or one of our resellers, you can offer this out to your customers. You will receive the 10% off as well. So this includes all the appliances, software, the phones, the great headsets that Simon talked about. That's all will all be eligible for the 10% off. If you choose the cloud, then we'll give you 10% off a 3-year contract. And the most important thing is, I think, as we've said, this includes all the features for every user. So we're not bothered whether it's a knowledge user who needs the full set, or you don't have to pay for individual people to have the mobile app or the desktop app. We just give it to everyone. It's much easier and much better, because you guys know who needs what features, not us. So yeah, as I say, that's that's the offers we've got at the moment. Just come and talk to us about it. And that's for me. So Simon, let's summarize this, and we've got a few questions as well.
Sure. So to summarize really quickly here, I think that, or I know that Switchvox is the phone system that disrupts the old working habit. For sure, I think we can see that we can address the issues of going back to the office that Shan highlighted. We can enable all of those home workers, office workers, road warriors, business number, and the contact center, all included inside Switchvox. And on that point, it's very simple pricing, right? All those features we talked about are included. So the desktop app, the integration with Sangoma phones, the mobile app, the complex routing capability. So this is around number convergence, and the contact center function. I think it's that contact center function that really sets Switchvox apart. And of course, it's easy to manage it and intuitive to use. So same web UI, same user experience, same training, same deployment, regardless of how it's deployed. And we really try hard to make the service the same wherever it's consumed. So the service should be the same whether you're at home, in the office, on the road, or wherever, right? We really try and make a uniformity of offering wherever we are. So my final summary, Switchvox enables flexible working, and it's beneficial to the business, the employee, and the customer. So yeah, we don't want the customer experience to suffer. We don't want the customer to see a difference in service wherever the employee is working from. So yeah, I'm a keen champion of Switchvox, and I think it's great, and I think it all businesses would benefit from the features. So Shan, got any Q&A out there? People asking questions?
We have got a few, and how do I get a trial?
Come talk to us. In fact, whilst we're answering questions, rather than this, let me display this so that you can know how to talk to us. Shoot us an email. Talk to us. We can, or there's a contact us form on the website if you prefer to do that. Sangoma.com. We have trial versions available. So we would typically spin one of these up in our cloud system and give you access to it for a little while to have a play to your heart's content. But yeah, we understand that people want trials and evals, and we're very happy to give you access to Switchvox, because we think it kind of sells itself once you've had some time with it.
Yeah, I agree with you that, and I think I would add, if anyone wants a personalized one-to-one demo, if you feel that your systems are different, we can happily walk you through as how it would fit in with your particular nuances for your business as well. Next one, I guess I'm going to combine the next two, is how do I get the discount and how do I buy it?
So we sell for the end. We've got a variety of people on this, types of different customers on this webinar. We sell through resellers, so we have partners spread across the UK and obviously across Europe as well. So please get in touch with us, and we can hook you up with the right partner for you. And we can, who we hook you up with varies depending on the level of expertise and help that you need. Perhaps if you don't need any help, it's just a pure sales model. If you need lots of help, then obviously we will, we can work through that as well. So just again, we're pretty approachable. We're always happy to chat to customers. So please give us a call, and we can figure out the best way to work together. But yeah, that's it. And on the discount, again, because we sell through all of our authorized partners, the partners are there to apply the discount to any quote that they give you.
Okay. What's the cost for the call center features and reporting? So not just the what I get to use, but if I want all the reporting tools, surely I've got to pay a bit as a manager.
Zero.
I've got to pay additional for that.
Zero. No. I'll expand a little bit, shall I? Again, it's not just the contact center features that are included. The reporting, the switchboard, the wall boarding, everything is included in that one base price for Switchvox. So there are literally no additional elements for Switchvox at all. So no, again, everything is included.
Brilliant. And while we're on costs, I might as well give you the other cost one. Is support an additional contract cost?
After the first year, yes. So there is an
Yeah.
additional cost based on a per user after the first year. We can come back to you with the exact costing and how that would look. But yes, there is a you can buy a 1, 2, 3, or 4 year contract. You can buy all those years. So if you want to buy 10 years up front, we'll sell you 10 years up front. But yes, there is a basis, and that allows you to keep using all of the cool features and access to the latest features. And as I mentioned, right, Sangoma is a growing company. We invest an awful lot in R&D, so there's always new features coming down the line. So having that support in place allows you to access all of those cool new features that we're always bringing to market.
Excellent. And given the time, that we've got time just for one last one. For everyone else, we will come back to you one-on-one and address it. We have got a fair few questions here, which is fantastic. But the last one I'll give you is, can you have multiple PBXs connected to each other for multi-branch solution?
Ooh, so I've never had that question before, but good one. Yes, we can do that. So we can do what's called peering of multiple switch boxes together. And that means you can share things like presence and chats across multiple switch boxes, and of course to have extension to extension dialing. The limit is still, it doesn't allow you to get around the 1,000 limit. So the 1,000 user limit is spread across those multiple boxes. So you could have four Switchbox deployments of 250 users each, for instance. But yeah, no, peering works really well. We've got customers out there doing it.
Cool. And I'm guessing we can have a mix of whether I want some on-premise and cloud and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good follow-up. Yes, yeah, of course. Yes, because it's the same software stack across any deployment type. Yes, you could have one cloud, one virtualized, one prem if you wanted to.
Yeah, because I think that's one thing we didn't mention on this, is that there are certain situations where the data has to be held on premise and it can't be in the cloud, and it sounds like Switchbox enables you to do that.
Yes, so we've come across a few scenarios like doctors' surgeries here in the UK. They would prefer on-prem because they don't really want patient data going up to the cloud. But if there's like a management office or something for that surgery, perhaps that could be in the cloud and the individual surgeries could be on-prem. So yeah, we can easily enable that with our peering feature.
Excellent. And I think we will, as I say, we'll address everyone else's questions offline. But please, get in touch with us if there's anything else you want to know. And for me, thank you, everyone.
Yep. Again, thank you, Shan. Thank you, everybody, for attending. As I said, it's great to see so many people out there. Please be in touch with us. We'd love to talk to you about any of this, any of these solutions that you're interested in. But thank you for attending and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.